everyone. Hi, Charlene.
Hey,
Hi, Lucy Collected, Dungeon Matron, Dirty Basement Terrain. Good to see you. Campaign Terrain.
yeah,
Hope you're all doing great. So, our guest today is Aaron from Summon Lesser Maker. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. As I was telling Aaron earlier, we had a sword fighting demonstration today. I did get whacked on the thumb, but it's flat edge, so all is good.
Yeah, that's good.
So, Aaron, I would like to start by telling us a bit about yourself and how you got into gaming and crafting today.
Yeah, so I started playing D&D a long time ago. Um well, it was before COVID, maybe 2 years, and I wanted to make a miniature, so I just whipped one up on Hero Forge and printed it out. And it all started like I wanted something to put my miniature in. So I made this with a 3D pen, and
A 3D pen, okay. Whoa.
yeah, it's not like a 3D printer. You just
Uh,
handheld it, FDM spills out. And I put every week I would put like my little miniature in there, and I was like, I could do better than that. And so that's kind of how I just started making terrain. So one year I did Monster Bash, and I made this thing. Um,
oh, I think we have a closer picture of that. 1 second.
yeah. Oh. And then
There we
right
go.
after that, I made that spaceship, and
The spaceship?
yeah, it's been after that, like the rest is history, really. So yeah,
So, going back to this one first. Was
yeah,
this totally random? Because it does look like a lot like the crawling hut in Curse of Strahd? Or is it something
yeah,
totally random?
yeah. I wasn't really aware of that artwork from
Okay.
Curse of Strahd, but I was pretty aware of the Baba Yaga's hut, and I rolled up some things on Monster Bash from Miscast, and I got spider legs, and I got like a fortress or whatever, and I was like, I couldn't get this image out of my head, and I just kind of whipped it together, and it free stands, like there's nothing underneath supporting it. It just
Okay.
like it stands on the spider legs, and it was just like, okay, well, I don't know how it worked, but it did. So yeah, so that's basically um, how this all started. It started with that. So
I like that you've
yeah,
got that green colors, creepy green color
yeah,
scheme going.
yeah. I painted that in like an hour.
No way.
Um, and it just like it was whatever paints I had at the time. I think it was all just dollar store paint at that time. And so I just kind of painted it all over. I love that thing. It stands right next to my bed. I made a little one too because I love it so much.
Okay, hang on 1 sec.
Oh yeah. So this one's like the baby brother, and I
Nice.
love this thing. So yeah. Yeah. So I've always been on. Yeah, there is a 3D pen. The 3D pens are kind of like a niche 3D printing hobby tool. Um, for a while, they weren't patented. So they there was a bunch of knockoffs. So I got one for maybe like $20, and I just had like my little spool of printer filament, and I just like smoothed it out and all that stuff with the tip of that pen and stuff. It's a pretty neat tool. So
I think it was
yeah.
around for a bit before FDM printers became common, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. I think recently like the main big companies stopped making them because they weren't
Hmm?
selling good, because they wanted like 70 something bucks for them. I just saw them pop up on Amazon for 20 bucks again. So they probably gave up on the product. So it's basically like hot glue gun, but for 3D printing filament.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I know a lot of people work with hot glue just to build shapes up. So is it a lot like that? All right.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little. It's obviously slower. I for this I made a backer of foam core and cardboard, and you can see like this is like this lattice work. That's just
Mhm.
the 3D print filament, um, and then you just kind of smooth it out gradually. So
So
yeah.
how long did it take you to build it up?
Oh, maybe like an afternoon.
Hmm. So
It was pretty fast. Yeah,
it's not
because most of the
terribly slow,
structure
yeah.
is foam core. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh dear, you're already being a bad influence on Dungeon Mason.
Oh, sorry, what?
I said you're already being a bad influence on Dungeon Mason.
Oh yeah. um,
Okay. Hi, Alexi.
yeah.
So
Um,
so how did you go? Because you started building terrain for miniature display. How did you jump from that onto more time terrain? Because that's your big thing, kind of thing. Yeah?
right, yeah. Um, I was watching I think it was Eric Hobby's workshops video, and like in an offhand comment, he mentioned that it was a free rules
Yeah, yeah.
and like you could just download it for free. And I was like, I'd never heard that before. I've heard it mentioned quite frequently, but I'd never heard it that it was free to download. So I just downloaded the rules and I was like, I need to give this a try. So my first board I ever made was uh was here on YouTube. And it's got like something ridiculous, like 8,500 views. Um, and I don't know how that's possible to be honest.
I mean,
But it looks,
it looks great,
yeah.
and I know you mentioned that you have not been crafting for a very long time, but you do good work. So
Yeah, uh, if there's any skill that I'm good at, it's hiding my mistakes and kind of going with the punches. So that
yeah,
that's like the best skill anyone can learn is as long as you can fix your own mistakes, you can make anything.
I mean,
So
hiding your own mistakes is about three-fourths of crafting, in my opinion. It's like
yeah,
we don't make mistakes; we just make more texture.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah. So and luckily, a lot of my mistakes can be hidden in a video. So
Yeah, that's one good thing about Mordheim because the style is so grungy and textured that I don't like to look of this. Put more mud on it, put more bricks or something.
right, yeah. Yeah, and if you break something, oh no, it's a ruined building. I succeeded. So, yeah.
Okay, let's see. So, Slurgical joined us. Good to see you. And while we're here, let's look a bit more about at your at the photos you sent me because there's some really good stuff in here. So, want to tell me about this ship first?
Yeah, so this is Star Wars. My obviously my friends are kind of into D&D, so I kind of mentioned offhand that we should do a Star Wars campaign. So there's a free system that's called Star Wars 5e, sw5e.com, and all the rules are free to download again. And I was just like, if it's free, I'm going to do it. So I wanted to make a spaceship for um, the the game, and this is just foam core construction. The little side um, like chassis or whatever is a printer cartridge from like I'm a printer, so instead of throwing it away, I let it touch the bottom of the trash can and I put it in my bag.
Is it
And
this
then
rectangular part over here?
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
so that's just a printer cartridge. And then I got a Bondi kit for an ATST walker.
Okay.
um, and I just kit bashed everything. but the base structure is just foam core.
Nice.
So yeah.
Did you ever get to play or run that game then, or is it still up in the air?
Uh, I did get to run that game. Yeah. Um, I ran maybe 7 sessions, and every time I brought all my terrain, and I put this on the center just to kind of set the mood, and it was really successful. So
Nice.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
those little griffin dogs
uh-huh.
that I painted. That's my first Warhammer model.
Okay.
Um, I modeled them after emperor penguins, the color scheme.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, macaroni emperor penguins. So yeah, I don't know why I had that in my head, but it worked.
It
So
works.
yeah, I thought they looked cool. So
I mean,
I think you can see them in the other picture too with
I,
the walking house.
there you go, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you pick up things for inspiration because I would never have pegged this down for Emperor Penguins.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was looking at reference photos and an emperor penguin popped up and I was like, I'm gonna do that. So yeah, that was fun.
Okay, I see that Jack Cleveland joined us. Hi, Jack. Good to see you. Hope you're doing okay, man. Okay. Oh, and
Yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. Yeah, it's
Danjimate is
cool.
saying kid bashing is dangerous. It leads to hoarding.
Yeah.
Well, let's be fair, Lisa. Everything leads to
Yeah,
hoarding.
it's true. I have so much bits everywhere. I'm in the middle of kit bashing some stuff for my next video, and you just like you're like, oh, I'll use this sprue. Oh, I'll use that sprue, and then it just like piles up. It's really funny. So,
Okay, and Daffod also joined us and saying watching this and thinking it needs LEDs.
yeah, you know, if it wasn't my first miniature, that walking house, I would I would definitely rip it apart and change it. But I don't know, it's too near and dear. If I ever broke that thing, I would probably cry.
I mean,
So
it is a great piece.
it's good the way it is. I'll dust it and that's it.
Okay, so let's bring up another piece. Oh, this one's one of your recent ones. Yeah, I think you mentioned that this was a thrift store find.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see behind me the Mordheim Catacombs board too. Um,
I love the whole idea of
yeah,
it
I
being
love.
in a trunk and everything.
Yeah. You know, I only have so much space, and you can see right here that I just magnet my boards to a wall, which is kind of precarious, to be honest. I've only had one fall,
Oh, so we
so
just
and
clip.
they've been up for a year.
Okay,
Yeah, they have really strong magnets like this big,
okay.
hot glued and drilled in and stuff. Um, but yeah, so this was my attempt to kind of build a board but be able to store it in the garage. Uh, so no rats can get through that. So, and if they do, they kind of deserve it. And you know, if Skaven get into the catacombs, that might be the best video ever. So who
Gigantic
knows?
red. Yeah, I mean, I have the same space problem. I ended up doing that thing behind me over there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what I did was I put cleats in the wall so I can just hang it on.
You know, cleats are probably the way to go. But I couldn't figure out like how do you because they won't lay flat on the table anymore, right?
Now, what I did
Or
was
do you put a cleat on both sides?
I kind of put, so I built the sides, and the base isn't flush with the bottom. It's about halfway up,
Oh, okay.
so it kind of hides the cleats.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You know, I that's probably the next step because magnets are probably a good long-term solution, but so far they've worked. So,
I mean, it depends. I mean,
yeah.
if they're good magnets, they're not going to lose strength or anything, I guess.
Yeah, the only issue is when I take them off the wall, sometimes the magnet will come out too because
Oh,
they're so strong. So I've been putting wall anchors in there, and so far that's worked. And I'm just waiting for the day it doesn't. So yeah,
okay, let's see.
yeah,
Hi, Dungeons and Chronics, good to see you. And hi, Quest Train. Okay, so let's go back to this one because this one is absolutely epic.
yeah, yeah. So next week, not this next Friday, but the week after, I'll be going back to this board, and we'll be finishing it up. Um, but yeah, I found this statue. It's just like a wise man from a nativity scene. Um, and yeah, so I just tore off the head and just kind of stippled on with some sponge, some rock texture basically. And that was basically it. Like that one's pretty good.
That's really
I
effective.
was really happy with how this came out.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of stuff going on here because you've got this one was the thrift store find. Then you've got these rocks, which were sorry, not these rocks. The this wall here, which was a cast, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's I made a plaster mold or silicone mold for some plaster casting. Um, and I sculpted the cobblestones with some green stuff. Um, yeah, so that's just plaster, and I think the rocks on the right side here, that's just expanding foam. So yeah, it's like gap filler for insulation in a can, and it looks really legit. You can hide a lot with painting.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
so, and I'm not quite done with this section yet. So I'm going to finish painting and detailing everything later, but I don't know. It looks pretty good. So,
Okay, so Slergical is saying Mordheim never got his attention until you made that board. I haven't looked at the rules, but I'm hooked on the design aesthetics.
well, that's always good to hear. I'm glad to be a bad influence. So,
Okay, and Dirty Basement is saying he was the fourth wise man that bought the crappy gift.
yeah. Well, the wise men, my pastors always said that they don't belong in the nativity because they came when he was like 2 years old, but somehow they made it in there. So you got to put them on the other side of the room, journeying over. So yeah,
So, what?
you see the eyeball on the lower left?
This one?
Yeah, yeah. So that's a Zinch horror that my son turned one of my archers into.
Oh, okay.
He's yeah, he's 8 now, but he plays a oh what is it? Um he plays his sorcerer cast a spell that's like you have to roll a 6 to get it to work, and he turned one of my archers into that, and it was like the coolest moment. So that's a fun moment. I always like putting that in the background because I didn't intend that to be a like a Mordheim miniature, but now it is. So yeah,
Okay, so we've got a home game running as well, and okay, bringing up a new generation of players, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, what
Chaos Marauders,
Chaos Warrior, right?
Marauders. Yeah, yeah, that's the warband.
I was looking at this part of the board because the painting on the stones looks quite different.
Yeah,
So it looks more like
um,
a painting here, and I think I'm not sure if it's part from the blur of the camera, but it looks really good for a foreground. So I don't know if this was
yeah,
the intention.
yeah. So that was 3D printed. I got that off Amazon, and I sponged everything on. I did kind of go on each of the rocks and do a little bit of a highlight, but um, I think those two pieces were kind of mix matched. They look a little dark, but one looks a little dark, but maybe that's just the shadow. I don't know.
No, but like I said, I really like the effect because it works really well as a foreground. I
Yeah.
know it's not supposed to be a foreground, but in this picture especially, it looks really good.
Yeah, I like those pieces a lot. They really add a lot of character to it. So yeah, I agree.
I'm guessing this part is 3D print.
Yeah, so yeah, I make STL packs that are free to download, and this is my Victorian greenhouse. Um, there was a time at work where all the internet was down for like 3 hours, and I designed this whole kit um, in 3 hours, and it's like one of my favorite things that I've ever made. Yeah, that it's just a Victorian greenhouse, and you can download that for free. That's on my Patreon. So
I think you've got some other kits coming up, don't you? If they're not
yeah,
yet coming up.
so yeah, I have a building accessories kit, and I'm in the camp where I like 3D printing for specific things. I don't really like printing an entire building.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather print the like little details that kind of distract you from the mistakes you make. um, so having the like hanging signs and hanging lanterns and little details
Mm-hmm.
really kind of distract from like the lack of detail that you're putting other places. So that's a building accessories pack, and that's free as well. Um, and then I made a a pack that's from my first board, or maybe it's my second. Um, yeah, yeah, it's my second board. And that one's free too, but they're not as like kind of one idea. It's a bunch of different things that are just kind of together. And then for the Mordheim Catacombs, um, that one will be free, but right now, um, it's like $5 for early access download, just to help fund the next projects.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I
very
don't,
good.
yeah, I haven't got a paycheck from YouTube at all, so all this is like mostly funded by me, so that just helps out a little.
How long have you been doing 3D design and stuff?
Uh, it's I think I documented it on the channel. It's been like a year.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
Um, and I usually use Adobe Illustrator and I extrude it there, and then I kind of digital kit bash it with Chitu box, and
Oh, okay.
it's really kind of not probably professional. That's one of the main reasons I just kind of given them out for free. Um, but they do the job, and a lot of my patrons are happy with them. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
here have a
look, I'm sure some people will disagree with me, but I think what makes it professional or not in the end is the result, not the process you used to get to it.
yeah, that's true. And none of my files are supported. So I know that's a hurdle for a lot of people. So, but uh, I just, Mordheim's free, and I always appreciate when a creator gives things for free. So that's the main reason I do that. Just to kind of lower that threshold for entry. I'd rather people learn and get better rather than like put up a paywall and prevent people from like taking that next step into the hobby journey. Um, so it's probably a bad business decision, but I don't know. I get a lot of good feedback, and whenever I see someone print something that I made, it's like cloud nine. So it's always great to see what other people do with things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of I really get a kick from that when someone says, "Hey, I built this thing based on something you did or said or whatever."
Yeah, I had a comment where they said they bought a printer to print my stuff.
Whoa,
And
okay.
that dude, I I as a hobbyist, not like like I'm just a regular hobbyist. I don't like put myself on a different level than other people, but that's just like crazy. I can't imagine. That one made me smile for several weeks,
Oh yeah,
and it still
I
does.
can
So
imagine.
yeah, I think that happened like 6 months ago, and I still think about it. So yeah,
Let's see. Slurgical is saying, that's funny about using 3D designs to distract from mistakes. I do the opposite. I craft to distract from some of my design awkwardness.
yeah. Well, it's a tug and pull. You got to kind of figure that out for yourself. Play with your strengths. So I wouldn't ever say my way is the way to do it. So yeah,
Okay, and yeah, that is a great compliment. Absolutely.
yeah, dude. I was yeah. I'm still happy about that comment. So
Okay.
yeah. Oh, it's one of those things where you kind of have a vision in your mind of what you're making, and you don't ever know what it'll look like. Um, but moments like that, when you put it all together, oof, you just, I don't know, you just feel good because you get so caught up in the little tiny details. Then you take a step back and you put green light on it. You're like, oh man. So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that's cool.
this whole thing, the lighting just gives it to their boom.
Yeah. I like the different lighting too, where it's just like on top, it's like sunny and it's like whatever. You don't know what lies beneath Mordheim. Um, yeah, it's cool.
I also really like the idea of having the it's not just a vertical board, but it's an upside down vertical board, which makes it really interesting.
Yeah, for that building in particular, I kept thinking like upside down stalactite, um, like kind of an upside down cathedral tower,
Hmm.
and that's basically the vibe for that. I wanted it to look like the roots of a building, and then right
Okay.
next to it are the roots of a tree. Like those are both entrances that war bands could take. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm just going to look at this for a little while because there's so much going on here and it's awesome.
yeah. You see that crane?
This one.
It's like an A-frame,
Let's see.
kind of in the middle, on the right next to the lock. It's hard to describe it. It's on this
This one.
thing.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be a part of that Catacombs STL kit.
Hmm.
It's like assembled. And I've had that one printed on an FDM printer, but I had a guy on my Patreon. He'd printed it on his resin printer, so it works on both. And
Nice.
his looks better than mine actually. But it's a crane, and it's got a spinning wheel in it, so you could put something at the end and kind of bring it up and down. And I've been trying to think of ways to like descend real quickly, because that's going to be kind of the rush in the middle. I think is going to be really interesting to get to, and that's going to be something I modify, I think,
Okay.
so that we can kind of descend into the catacombs pretty quick.
Have you already been playing on this, or is it still a work in progress, do not touch kind of thing?
Yeah, I haven't played on it yet, but I I've gotten so many comments about doing a battle report that it's gonna happen. It'll probably be a battle report.
Nice.
So yeah, that'll be fun.
And do you have
I
any
really
pla
like the board on top. I just kind of was taking pictures of it without that.
Hmm.
And then I was like, I have this thing. It would be really cool to have that shot. Um,
I mean, it does give a lot more detail kind of thing. They really fit well together.
yeah. So yeah, that this build's been really great.
Another thing, I saw it before on the wagon, but I think some of your other buildings have it as well. This kind of Tim Burton style sagging buildings and kind of things.
Yeah, the one with the green roofs and like the really harsh peak. Um,
This one?
yeah, that one. Like I grew up going to Disneyland when it was affordable. um, and I feel like mine is kind of like the tilt to the dark side of Disney-esque like
Okay.
aesthetic. Um, because that could be if painted differently, like Snow White's cabin, with the seven dwarves.
Ah,
So every time I look at that one, I'm like, this is just like a creepy version of that.
okay.
Um, you know, but I definitely I feel like because I'm new to Mordheim, I've only been doing it for a year. My aesthetic is a little different than a lot of people's because they're iterating on things that they knew in the past, um, which is perfectly fine. And I don't think that's bad at all. But I just think my way of doing it is different because of that.
I
Like I
mean,
don't have that nostalgia.
I
So
mean,
I'm finding that nostalgia now.
it fits. It fits the aesthetic, and besides, there's room for all sorts of visions, and it's not just more time in these settings. It's everyone's interpretation is perfectly fine.
It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And
Yeah.
also this tunnel kind of thing here,
hmm
that's just great for playability because the more ways you have to traverse a building in more time, the more fun it becomes.
Yeah, that board has a bridge on it. So, like you can travel under and over a road. And so having that choice between whether you're going over, but you can't really get onto the other side of the board with that, really doubles the amount of space you have in decisions. Um, I think that was a YouTube poll. I asked people what they wanted on the board, and they
Hmm.
said a bridge. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll figure that out because I'd never done that before, and it's my favorite board because of that. Having that feedback from other people and collaborating with an audience, um, I don't know, it's really cool. That never fades from my excitement to build things. So
Okay, so Slurgical is saying it's a terrain iceberg. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that's
it
a
does
really
look
good way
like
of
an
putting it.
iceberg, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, and dirty basement terrain has a very good point. You bring a fresh perspective.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's um, yeah, I kind of grew up being an artist, like sketching,
Hmm.
and so having silhouettes. Mostly, I did like superhero stuff. They have really strong, punchy silhouettes. So having like the wagon. Let's see, is it over here? Yeah, having the wagon like have a really like it could have like a shallow pitch or
Hmm.
whatever. Here, but having a really exaggerate. Wow, those are like almost exact. That's pretty crazy. But having those really exaggerated shapes really sets it apart
It does, yeah.
from being ordinary to extraordinary. It really just like punches the air. So I feel like that comes from my uh, superhero like sketching background because they really like punch, you know. They
Very
always
strong
like
shapes and
they don't like whimper. They
no, no,
like
no, no.
you know. So
The other thing I like about it is that it's not all straight lines and stuff. It really helps sell the idea that hey, this place has been slowly collapsing for 20, 30 years.
exactly, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's been a really fun journey.
Okay, is this from the same board or a different one?
Yeah, so that's from a different board. This you can actually see some of the building accessories that you can just get for free.
Like,
There's a hanging sign in the middle,
okay, I see it.
um, and that really just like pulls your eye into different ways. Like there's the lanterns at the bottom level by the street. They're green.
Okay, I see them. Yeah.
Yeah, those just like your eye grabs at those, and the little mistakes around there just kind of fade away because you see those little details and your eye goes, hmm, yeah, that looks pretty legit. So
Okay, I see that you've also, I think these are like popsicle stick shingles.
yeah, so I have what is it called? Scallop scissors.
Okay. Ah, yeah, I think
And
I saw you using them in one of
yeah,
the videos.
yeah, lately I've been using cork adhesive sheet for that.
All right.
Um, you just cut up the cork, it's one line, and then you separate each shingle individually. And it's like the easiest way to make shingles.
Nice.
These ones, these ones I laid individually, and then this one was just like a row of shingles. And this one looks better. So why would you ever do it this way? So yeah, if you always do things the same way, you'll never find a better way of doing things. So I was
True.
like experiment. So
And I see clothes pegs there.
mhm. Yeah. Actually this tower was like I based it off of MS Terrain Lab. He
That's
has a
another great
tower
channel, yeah.
board. Yeah, his Mordheim boards are astonishing. Um, so I recommend you check his out. He's priming a new one right now, and I've been following each post like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Um, and yeah, so I saw this tower and I just modeled it like basically the same way. Like it's basically a one-to-one copy. Um, but yeah, so I can't really take the credit for that shape, but it's uh it's a really good building. And my favorite part of this board
Hmm.
is like the different levels because the street level is different than the building levels.
Yes.
You can see like there's an underhive of like slum streets, and then like there's a separate like top level of the foundations, and it came together really well. This was the first board that I didn't just build in a week. I took my time on it, and it really shows.
Think it, you,
I think I spent 3 weeks on this video.
I mean, even 3 weeks is really good time for something like this.
Yeah.
But what I really like about this, for example, is that you've got the vibe of a city, which you don't always get in more timetables because you've got a building here, a building here, a building here. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And mine aren't modular. And I think that scares some people because they're like, oh, well, if I glue mine down, it'll never be the same. They're like,
Yeah,
I can't ever change it.
yeah.
But I think this really shows like you can make it work. So yeah, I think this one looks really good.
I mean, especially a board like this one, where basically it's not just the aesthetics of it, but if you look at different places, you've got a lot of tactical options going. So
Yeah.
you can play on this for years, and especially if you switch up with different warbands and so on, you're going to play on the same piece of terrain for years, and you're not going to have the same game twice.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Like if you're a war band, the city doesn't change. You just find out different parts of the city.
Yeah,
Like
true.
you could go across the same spots over and over again. And even while I play it, I go, oh, I could put my guy here next time. So yeah. And I never say any of my projects are actually finished. Like that castle in the back left,
This one.
I might swap that out, but because it's not painted like perfectly or whatever. but who knows?
I mean, and you could also, I don't know, if you decide, hey, I'm going to put another floor on this tower or something, or yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, this
Yeah,
looks good.
I love this one. Yeah, this
Uh,
one makes me smile every time I look at it.
drinking straw plumbing, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, those are just plastic straws for the gutters.
nice. And the 3D prints, I imagine.
Yeah, those I actually I took a screenshot of the Mordheim video game,
Okay.
and there's like a shot with a witch hunter, and right next to that witch hunter is a fence, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to make that." So I traced it out in Illustrator, and then I just extruded it and exported it. So, and I didn't ever intend to use it on roofs,
Hmm.
but once I like stuck it on there, I was like, I got to do it everywhere. So, yeah.
Okay, Jack is saying, Aaron, you showcase a great set of skills from designing, painting, building, and 3D modeling and printing. Great stuff. 100% agree with that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I think you said that, man, that gutter, that crumpled the gutter right
Hmm.
there. Man, that looks so good. And it's just those happy accidents that happen by themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Once you kind of like build a structure and a way of doing things, like I have a joke in every one of my Mordheim videos that my Mordheim boards have a fictitious HOA where all my board and roofs have to be green, because like the older buildings have bronze roofs that uh, like rust green.
Yeah, get that patina on them, yeah.
So if I have a wood roof, it has to be painted green. Um, and once you set those little rules, like stories just kind of like they just make sense together, you know? Um, so yeah, like that one building in the back, all those shingles fell off, you know?
This one,
So
okay.
yeah,
It's got some very interesting damage going on back there.
yeah. That wood texture
Hmm.
is cut in with a Cricut. I
Oh,
made
okay.
a AI file to cut in a wood texture there, and it probably was more. I didn't really ever do it again, but it looks really good. So
Okay, I think, oh yeah, Slurgical mentioned someone using a cricket to make their shingles. Different use, but yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, I do have a Cricut file for shingles, but and I did it like 7 or 8 times, but it was just never quite fast enough for me. I could always just do it faster, and if I find a faster way of doing something, I'll do it that way.
I mean,
Once I
the,
found
the scissor sound
those
is very
shing,
fast. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Once I found those scallop scissors, I do it every time now because it looks just as good, and it looks like you're doing it all by hand. So
Okay, what about
yeah,
this building? It's got some nice layering going on. Is that plant or something growing out of it?
yeah. That is pipe cleaner.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so I singed off all the furry bits, and I use that for vines on that building.
Nice, all right.
Yeah. And that building's just made out of craft foam, and it just is cut out of a Cricut machine.
All right.
Yeah, that whole like I made like 3 files for that. You could still find them, but they're pretty far down. That was like my second video.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got some kind of muddy stuff going on around there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's like the texture. I sawed away some of the expanding foam. I
Ah,
just use
okay.
this. great stuff from Lowe's. Um,
The
and it's
big
gap
gap filler.
filler.
Okay.
Yeah. You can hot wire cut it. You can chop it off with a saw. It's a really versatile material. And if you're making a foam to foam bond with XPS foam,
Mm-hmm.
that thing is the best. Um, for that board in particular, I used um, floral foam from the dollar store, and it's like a plastic
Mm.
recycled eco-friendly foam.
Isn't that super crumbly and
It's not like the stuff that absorbs water.
oh, all right.
Um, it's like a expanded polyester. It's I don't know. It's hard to describe,
Okay,
but
but
it's
it's
like
not the crumbly toxic one. Okay,
right.
different
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, that one's toxic, so don't use that one. There's a recycled one that's it's hard to describe. It's called floral foam, FOM.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird name, but it works great. And especially with this just like soaks in through all the little open holes because it really doesn't like soak in water. It
Mm-hmm.
just like sits and the water kind of like flows through it. So anything texture paste wise, it like gets a really big strong bond to
Okay.
it. So yeah,
Yeah, that's good to know.
and it's a buck. It's hard to beat that.
Oh, nice. Okay, and Dungeons and Chronics is asking, what do you use for the textures for the outside walls?
Oh man,
So like this, I guess.
I think I use plaster and sand for that one. I made a plaster sand texture, and I just like stippled it on. It's been a while since I've done this. There's a whole video on this, so you could check that one out. But if I remember right, it was just like stippled texture paste that I made with plaster. It's been probably 6 months, maybe 3. I don't know, one of those.
Okay, and because
I make a video every week, so it's hard to remember. Sometimes they all kind of bleed together.
yeah, I mean, I used to try to
Yeah,
do that, but in the end, I was like, whatever will be ready, when it's ready. I'll do a video when it's done. I'm not going to rush stuff. I'm just doing this to relax.
yeah, yeah. And I never watch my videos again because I just hate hearing myself talk.
Yeah, I do watch my videos again sometimes because I need to remember how I did something and my memory isn't what it used to be. So okay, I'll go back to a video and
Yeah.
like, okay, that's how I did that.
There was one time I couldn't find my clippers and I looked back at one of my videos because remember I used it in that video and I set it like in a weird spot under the table. And
No
I was
way.
like, oh, there it is. So I did some detective work and that was worth it. It's
I
really
mean,
funny. I was just like, man, I'm stupid sometimes.
yeah, I mean,
So
I should probably be recording where I put my keys and my wallet and my stuff.
yeah, yeah. Put a webcam in here and just follow myself around 24/7. What was that last question? I think
Uh,
we skipped over it.
I think it wasn't a question, it was
Oh,
a statement. Because Bertrand was
oh,
saying,
okay.
I love the moist texture of the shingles that the Cork gives. True.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the nice thing about that is that cork is self-adhesive.
Is
So you
it?
just peel off the back of it
Oh, nice.
and then you just stick it on. It's so great, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
This adhesive's kind of like uh, post-it notes. So you have to go in and seal it after, but you're only doing it once throughout the whole thing.
I mean, you still have to
And
seal
so
it at the end
it's
anyway, if you didn't, even if you didn't have that. So, yeah, I mean, like, it's not
yeah,
really
it's
adding any
so
time.
much.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a game changer. This was the video I discovered it, and I can't do it any other way now. It's a game changer.
Okay. Oh, hello.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So this was a roll for terrain video. Um, if you didn't watch the video, all you need is 6 dice, and you take your Mordheim book,
The exploration table,
and
right?
you roll on the exploration chart. Um, yeah, so this has a bunch of different things like a well, a shop, a corpse tomb, a townhouse, armor, graveyard, catacombs, a bunch of stuff. And actually, for this board, I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to decide on what to make because I've made 3 boards already, and I rolled on here, and it said catacombs, and so that's how this board started.
The
So I
dice
do
have
this one a
spoken.
lot. Yeah, yeah. I do this one a lot because I'm new to Mordheim and I want something to fit in the Mordheim world. And there's so many different things with word descriptions. So having a little tool like this really kind of helped me
Oh yeah,
out.
absolutely.
Yeah, I really like this challenge. So I rolled prisoners on this, and I also rolled a straggler. And on both of those descriptions, the prisoners and the stragglers had a good chance of dying at the end of it. So I made these execution wheels and the hanging tree. That tree is just made out of pipe cleaners. You just heat it over the stove to melt all the foams together, or all the little polyester hairs together, and it like makes a hard shell, kind of like
And it has
a
an
hard
interesting texture.
candy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really great for ropes. So if you go over to the right, um, the ropes are just made out of pipe cleaners too.
And
So
I think you even showed it on your last video with the bases.
yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah. The bases kind of show some fundamentals with that, but um, yeah, the wheels, the wagon wheels,
Mm-hmm.
are something that are really common in the Mordheim rulebook.
Oh
I
yeah.
kept seeing them everywhere, and I guess that's a way of execution for thieves and highwaymen.
Uh,
So,
Pretty much, yeah.
which is basically everyone in Mordheim.
True,
So
yeah.
I figured this would be a way for them to go.
Yeah, I mean, the Mordheim design has a lot of recurring themes, like for example, fish are very common
Mm-hmm.
in the design,
Yeah,
and the twin-tailed comet. I can't say I noticed that wheels were that frequent, but now that you mention it, yeah, I think there are a few places where they show up in the background, especially.
yeah. I was going through a binge watch of um, Bloodborne, because I feel like Bloodborne really kind of mirrors Mordheim a lot. And like the Dark Souls games, and those are also in there too. Not like super frequently, but I was like, man, that's really Mordheimy. And I saw a picture in the Mordheim rulebook, and I was like, okay, I got to make this work. So yeah,
Okay, so Cross is saying, I swear I'm the only one who can't make pipe cleaner trees work right. I'm going to try that, so
yeah,
that might be two of us.
yeah. You know, I know that Campaign Terrain says that one kind of frequently. So every time I mention it, um, I think really you just kind of have to look at the shape of a tree, and because the armature is in the pipe cleaner, you got to shape that before and after, and just make sure that the shape is going the same. Um, I made like birch trees that were, well, my voice is going. All right. Wow. All right. I made some birch trees that were really straight, and they don't look anything like this old, like crooked tree.
Mhm.
That one's kind of like an oaky look. Um, but that straight one, like you can make a lot of different shapes with the pipe cleaner trees. So it just takes some like homework to kind of see how it's structured. So
Wait, this one isn't pipe cleaner, though.
No, that one's a
Okay.
real stick.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 I went to my in-laws live in Idlewild in California. So or my sister-in-law.
Hmm.
So we drove up there, and right where we parked, I saw that stick. And my wife was like, "Are you kidding me? We've been here 4 seconds." And I was like, "I gotta have it. It's the perfect shape." So yeah, my poor wife. It's funny because I didn't used to make things all that often. I just
Hmm.
hoard the things to make the things. And
Oh, I know the feeling as well. Yeah, I've
yeah,
been doing
so
this.
I'd like have this collection of things, and with that, with this, with this thing
Hmm.
and my spaceship, I showed her that I actually can use them, and so she kind of was like, okay, well, as long as you're using them, it's fine. And then I just took up a whole room. So my poor wife, she's an angel.
Okay. Dungeon Matron is saying, "Oh, thank you, Summon Lesser Maker. You just solved the problem I was having for my next build."
Yeah, you know, I'm assuming she's talking about the pipe cleaners, maybe. I think I have 1 second.
No rush.
um, where'd it go?
Which video did you see it
Ah,
in last?
yeah. I have this ship rigging that I made with the pipe cleaners, and because the
Oh,
armature is in the pipe cleaner, you can pose it. So it was like a spell for one of my D&D characters.
nice.
Um, I think it's the arms of Hadar. In the rule book, it's supposed to be like tentacles, but I wanted it to be like Davy Jones' locker from Pirates of the Caribbean.
So it's
Um,
like the ropes
so
on the ship. Just that's a cool
yeah,
idea.
so it looks like it's like going in and like kind of trying to take people over. And you can pose it and it stays there, and you can like repose it. It's really great. I can't recommend using pipe cleaner for uh ropes enough. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's something
Looks
I
really good
want to
at
try.
scale.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, definitely something I want to try out.
Yeah.
So,
I discovered the pipe cleaner trees from Campaign Terrain on Instagram.
okay.
So I can't take credit for that, but the ropes, using it as ropes, I'll gladly take credit for that one. That one worked pretty good. So
Okay. I have seen people using wire for twisted wire for nooses and ropes and stuff. Never seen people use pipe cleaner. So yeah, I'm going to give you that
yeah,
one.
yeah. The nice thing about the pipe cleaner is because wire is wire, it's really hard to get paint to stick to that. So
Yeah, good
the
point.
pipe cleaner already has the fibers in there, and it's
Yeah,
in a
that's just hard
helix
to. Yeah.
motion. So like if the in that the furs that are in that helix really protect the wires that are underneath, so it really doesn't ever scratch off or anything. It's
Nice.
a really hard plastic by the time it's all melted.
And I'm
So
guessing it really grabs the paint better. Yeah.
yeah, a lot better.
Okay. So, do you play any other games apart from Dungeons and Dragons and Mordheim?
um Yeah, I don't really I don't have time.
No, that's a very fair
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah. I've been playing with uh I made an army for Turnip 28. And I have this guy. This was my Turnip 28 Moff, or what is it called?
The
Um
oh,
Toff.
the tough, yeah,
Yeah.
the general thingy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like this guy. I I I find it really hard to find people to play because I craft so fast. And I'm kind of ADD. I hyper fixate on things, and then my brain switches channels.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm hyper fixated on something else. So, like I have a Age of Sigmar army that I've been working on, Cities of Sigmar,
Okay.
and the Goblins, but now the rules changed, and so that probably won't ever happen. I did have the Warcry box, but I was too scared to touch it, and then I was like,
Why is that?
I mean, technically it's Mordheim terrain, so I just made Mordheim terrain with it. So yeah, I haven't really landed on another game. Um, my wife just bought Fallout Factions. I'm a
Oh, yeah.
huge Fallout fan. Um, so I'm really looking forward to try that one out.
I
And then
haven't
there's
I've
another
tried the game
board
yet, but
game called. Sorry, go ahead.
I said I haven't tried that game yet, but yeah, Fallout is another fantastic setting.
Yeah, yeah, I love Fallout. Fallout 3 is like my top two video games of all time.
I think
Um,
I started playing from Fallout 2 and I absolutely loved it. It was way back in the late 90s. I was like, this is good. Then I went back
yeah,
to Fallout
and you know
1
what?
and
A lot of people gave Fallout Forest a lot of flack, but I really like that one. It's like a perfect gen up, like next version of it.
yeah, I mean,
So
I think some people complained about the plot, but I found it really good.
yeah,
Did you
and the
did
TV
you
show is great too.
Oh
So
yeah, that was really good. That was surprisingly
yeah,
good. In fact, I was kind of worried about that after Rings of Power. I was like, "Eh."
yeah,
Yeah, but
dude.
it was a really good show.
After Wheel of Time, oh my gosh, I was so scared.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. But yeah, I mean,
That's
uh,
fair.
but yeah, everyone on the Fallout show was really good. Especially Walton Goggins was just a come on, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was really nervous about it, but it was really great. So I like that. So I'm really psyched for Fallout Factions. Um and the last game that is like it's probably I like it more than Mordheim, but it's a board game. It's the Golden Snitch. Um it's a Quidditch game,
Yeah, all right.
and it's just a board game, and it's a really tactical because you got to like score points, and then you get spell cards, and it's really fun. So I play that one with my wife, and I've been considering making a board for that
Yeah,
because
okay.
that would be really cool to have little wizards flying around and stuff. So
I mean, you mentioned Turnip 28, and that's a really weird game because I mean, it's got it's super funny. It's got its own weird aesthetic. I know that
yeah.
people make miniatures for it. I mean, what miniatures are for it? I don't know anyone who plays it. Like,
Oh, really?
I've played one game with a friend of mine,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't met anyone. Like I mostly stay in my little hobby hole, so I haven't met anyone who plays it. But I made this Grand Bum Bastard, uh,
Oops.
and it's so cool.
Woohoo!
It's huge. Um, so yeah, I really love the aesthetic. It reminds me a lot of Fallout
Is that a little
because
guy
it's got
standing
like a
on?
little bit of dark humor and stuff.
Is that a little guy standing
Um,
on top of it?
Sorry, what?
Is there a little guy standing on top of that thing?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's standing on top of it. He's like sightseeing or whatever. Yeah, and I really like this army. I don't know if did I send you a picture of
Oh,
this?
I don't think so. I
It
don't
might
think
be
so.
hard to see. And it's probably easier to see on the TOF. But they're called the acolytes of woad. So that's like the plant that you get blue ink from, and so they're kind of like slugs. Everywhere they go, they like leak the ink everywhere. So like everything behind like here is like ink, and it's really cool. I when I came up with that idea. I didn't know how I would paint it and how well it would turn out, and it was like another happy surprise. I always surprise myself. I always kind of expect the worst, but somehow it turns out. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it sometimes it's like until you get started, it always sounds like yeah, maybe, but once you get going, you get going.
yeah, yeah, I'm one of those people who benefits from doing rather than thinking. Because once I have time to think about a project, I'll overthink it.
And you'll be
And
like,
it's just
yeah,
better to just kind of get started and take those little steps.
and think
And then
along the way.
eventually it's finished. Because I, I mention it a lot in my videos, but finishing projects is a skill. And a lot of people, they don't ever finish anything. So they know, like, they get discouraged. You got to like practice finishing things, or you'll just get to those like steps. Like, for example, I've drawn all my life, but I've never finished sketches because I don't know how to color well. And done that forever. And you can get good results with just doing black and white, but like getting into this new medium, like
Hmm.
finishing something is really important to me because you get to like everything's pink and black and different colors of foam. You know, until you get to that last step, you're going to be just like,
Yeah, I
you
totally
really
agree.
got to get to that last step of
Until it looks like
painting and
one
seeing it
thing. Yeah.
finished. Exactly. Yeah. Because now it's closer to that finished thing. Your mind's eye will be like, oh, okay, that's how it looks finished. And then the next project, you'll look past those colors and you'll be like, okay, so that's not going to stay pink. It'll be okay. So, yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like that's a really important skill for people to learn because, and I don't think that's mentioned enough. I think people need to be encouraged to finish projects. It's a really good, healthy thing to learn and get used to. So,
Yeah, I mean, also people need to be learning to start projects is also a skill because it's like you said, sometimes you start thinking, okay, I'm going to need to do all these 20, 30 steps, and it's like, yeah, that's too many steps. I'm never going to get there, and I just,
yeah, yeah. And YouTube does that a lot where like they'll show you the end product
yeah,
first.
yeah, yeah,
And it's just like, come on, you're setting like you gotta I always like starting with a concept sketch just to kind of show people where you kind of want this thing. And then by the end of it, it looks a little different, but that's okay. So yeah.
I mean, that's plus also this is very good because just because you made a mistake, don't throw it away. Just, yeah, okay, it's part of the
Right.
design now. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's absolutely good advice.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
I
let's
would
look at
have
this.
never started this project. That like that board. Like, could you imagine making a list of steps
Oh, man.
and doing each one of those steps? Come on, man. You just got to take your little baby steps and uh like conquer it one step at a time. There's no one and done like solution to this. So,
And while you're building this, you're also well, not maybe not learning different skills, but like for example, figuring out how to make the molds for the wall, figuring out how to fit the structure here in a way that's playable.
mhm.
So it's not just there are some cases where you can't really make a plan just out of the door. You have to you can plan. Okay, I need to learn this thing, but you can't play. Okay, I'll do exactly these things.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I do something, I do it different. And now I kind of have like a well-rounded view of what I'm doing when I'm starting a project. Um, because that first building that I said was my second video at the top,
Hmm.
like I made that with a Cricut and I designed it in 2D. That's way different than learning how to make shingles better with a scallop scissors, you know.
Yeah.
It's all a process. Yeah. And
Plus,
I've been really enjoying like this the wagon
mm-hmm.
that was a white dwarf article that I
Yeah,
followed. Um and a lot of those steps were new to me because I kind of missed out on that era, you know. Um so I it was really cool to kind of go back in time a bit and try something really new.
the
So
thing is that all those techniques are still very valid. I mean, like, I started crafting stuff sometime in the 90s, and no idea about XPS Foam, just literally cereal boxes, cut them, put them
yeah,
together, paint,
yeah.
maybe paint them.
It's obviously easier now too because we have 3D printing. We don't need to kit bash everything. We can
True, yeah.
3D print little elements and then just kind of use those elements everywhere.
But again, even if we cut the just not the detailing and stuff, but just the basic materials, cardboard, for example, is a very overlooked material.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. There's no wrong way of doing
no,
it.
no,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah, I was there's so many ways to skin that cat. You got to figure out your own way of doing it, you know? So,
Yep.
yeah.
And I mean, plus, again, going back to you can't plan everything out from the beginning. You didn't have
Mm-mm.
the that wise man at the beginning, right? It's just something you happened to find. So, yep, I'm going to build this thing for it.
I went to that thrift store and I saw that statue
Hmm.
and I cataloged it in my head and I was like, I wonder if I could make anything with that. And um it just kind of clicked where I saw it in that spot and I was like, oh, I gotta do it. And I went back and it was still there, thank God. So yeah, so I grabbed it and I destroyed it and it was great. So yeah. Um yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. So this was my first Mordheim board.
Okay.
So I made this before I'd ever played the game, and I just kind of guessed on what I just wanted to make a little piece of diorama. And not everything was at the perfect scale, like that building on the left that's strategically cropped off to one side where you can't really see it very well.
Hmm.
Um, that one is a little too small. So I ended up ripping it off and doing another thing with it. But yeah, yeah, this was like the first step to that journey, and it was really cool. So those are dollar
The light
storehouses.
storehouses, yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of them
um,
recently.
yeah, um, yeah. So I don't know. I hadn't really seen anyone use them, but I destroyed them and I eventually took them off because they were really on the edge of the board.
Hmm.
It was hard to get a miniature around, like to get to the back of it. Um,
Yeah, I
and
would
that
imagine
kind
so.
of,
Just eating space at that point, yeah.
yeah. So I changed it up a bit and I kind of have to revisit this board again after the catacombs because it's still like not super playable. Um, so
It's a bit blurry here, but I really like the rock work here, especially this area.
yeah, yeah. That's just fluorofoam and kind of rubble and
All
stuff like
right.
that. So yeah, yeah. It's not the best, but it did the job. So
Yeah, I mean, again, going back when I started playing tabletop games and stuff, most of our terrain would be books, boxes, and soda cans. So it's like we would have gone crazy for something like this way back then.
yeah, I always like my family always had Lincoln logs. I don't know if you have them in
Mm.
Germany, but they're like interlocking like logs that you kind of
Oh,
stack and
right,
make
right.
houses out of. So I've been planning on making a video on like kind of the basic fundamentals of making a Mordheim board with Lincoln logs and blocks and stuff to show people like the best layouts and kind of you can try troubleshoot it before you build like a crazy board. Um, so and that's kind of harkens back at what people used to do and how they used to play these games too.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Now that you mention it, Lego Mordheim sounds both epic and incredibly expensive.
Yeah. I went to Legoland and they had a huge set, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to like make a video, like do all this stuff." I went over the price tag, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is it's more expensive than Warhammer."
I
So,
oh yeah, Lego recently released this Dungeons and Dragons box set with
mhm.
Lego stuff and so on. I mean, the dragon itself is just this massive chunk of different Legos. It's super complicated to build, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of in the arm and leg price level. So I don't think I'm getting that one.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's true. I looked at those sets and I was like, ooh, that would be cool, but it's really expensive. So, but you can really see how far it's come from that first board to this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a night and day difference. So you just figure it out on your own. Um,
And just keep
I have that YouTube degree, as I said earlier. So,
and you're also looking at new things for ideas. It's not just looking at the rule book or looking at the random exploration chart or whatever. You're just looking at
mhm.
different places for ideas.
Yeah,
I did
the
have a
rule
question.
book has so much art. So,
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Thomas Brennan had mentioned that that was one of the, if not the last rule book, it was one of the last rule books that they had laid out manually before, what do you call it? Before they started using InDesign.
mhm.
And I mean,
Yeah,
John Blanche and Dave Gallagher and stuff. You don't mess around
yeah.
with those people.
No,
But
yeah,
I did
those,
have another
yeah.
question.
Okay.
When you're putting things together, do you plan out routes for movement or lines of sight or things like that, or do you just go, okay, this would look cool here and this would look cool here?
Right. You know, that's something that I've been getting better at. I feel like I was kind of rather than planning out good ways of like making it tactical,
Hmm.
I would just look at city layouts
That's
of
also a
like
very
real
good way to do
world
it. Yeah.
world cities and follow that instead. Um, because I mean that's basically what Mordheim is. Like it's a city. So rather than kind of look at it gameplay wise, especially because I'm so new to it, um, I would look at real world cities and kind of look at the layouts. Like that bridge is basically an overpass
Hmm.
of like a city nowadays. Um, so it's really like not that practical either. But I don't know. I just kind of try to emulate the real world things that I do know rather than the things I don't, and not let that kind of hinder me from actually making the thing. So,
Yeah, I mean, because there are different people have different ways of designing their things. It's either just put them randomly where they look good, or like you said, just try to model the real thing, or
mhm.
try to model it tactically and so on. So it's just different approaches, and they all come up with very different results, all of which are very interesting.
Yeah, the tactics comes later. Like when you're playing the game, you really kind of look at it a different way, and and then you go, oh, you know what would be good here. So like you just got to play on it after you make it sometimes. And that's just a part of the process for me. So
Yeah, thinking about it, I think your way has an extra bonus because if you plan it out tactically, there will usually be like one or two optimal ways to use the table.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the tactical thing will just come naturally. So, but as far as making things more playable and like, so you don't have to like kind of use tweezers to put a mini
Yeah,
down, that's something I'm really, that's been the biggest hurdle for me.
same here.
Yeah. So like making things playable, that's the thing I'm learning that I'm improving the most. I find kind of it's really a balancing board. Like, does it look good or is it playable? And you kind of figure out like how that balances.
Uh,
Um,
my
and
problem with
I'm figuring out that balance a little better.
my problem with that is usually that you're working with your nose in a piece, right? It's literally the start from
Mhm.
your face, and everything looks large and open because you haven't assembled it yet. You're just working in it, right? Oh, I can put this
Yeah,
in, and I can put this in, and I can put this. Suddenly, it's like,
yeah.
where did the space go?
Where's the space? Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And like I'm so bad at making the holes in these buildings fit my hand. They none of them fit. They fit the mini, but as far as like putting the miniature down, I'm like taking two fingers at the toe and like setting it down, and then I forget about it, and it's just like, okay, well, I need to open that up a bit, kind of role play Godzilla a bit, destroy this thing again.
In the end, I ended up most of the times I just make buildings, especially come apart in sections. It's also good
Mhm.
for storing them. But okay, if I really can't make my hand fit in, I'm just going to move this, put the thing, put that back.
Yeah, yeah, but then you hide a mini inside,
That,
and then
that's
you
that.
forget about it,
Yes, yes.
or you have an exploded building. You have like a table where like there's just different levels all over this table because there's like miniatures everywhere, and you're just like, they should have just made a bigger holes in this building. Uh, yeah, I've never the modularity has never really clicked in my head because I'm like, but then I have this section here and I have this section on the side. Um, yeah, you forget about it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
really ADD, so I never like I always get the comments where they say like you need to put scatter terrain on this, and I've made scatter terrain, but it's in the closet over there. And I every time I play a game, I'm like, okay, let's get the minis, let's do this, and I forget about the scatter terrain. So it has to be glued down, or it won't ever get played with.
it's funny that you mentioned the hiding minis because I don't know how many times it's happening to me. I lose a game because I've got someone in cover or hidden or something. I forget they're there.
Yeah,
Oh, I only have X amount of people on the table.
yeah,
Oh, they're running away.
yeah. How did I like lose a miniature like this? Like I have one less miniature at the end of this game. It happens with my son every game because he's
Oh,
8. And my son,
yep.
yeah, because he's 8. He always puts something behind somewhere, and then I pick up the board to put it on the wall, and it falls, and I'm like, oh, there he
Ah.
was. So, yeah, and he didn't play the game with him at all, so it's poor guy. It's funny.
Okay, Jack is saying, thank you for the service you provide for the crafting, modeling, and game community. Your interviews are a great way to get to know people in a way that nothing else can. Peace. Well, thanks, Jack. Well, what I always say is that these interviews are more of an excuse to talk to interesting people, and the rest of you are just along for the ride.
Yeah, it's a side effect.
It's a side effect.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any plans for any other large terrain once you finish this, or you're just focusing on finishing what you have right now and moving on?
Yeah. Oh, here.
Hmm.
So, that one. that's the first Mordheim board that I renovated already. This one fell, and you can
Oh,
see that right here.
that little
The
square at
the
the bottom.
buildings at the bottom
Yeah.
fell off. So that one, because it's the first iteration, I kind of just need to like tear it apart again and just start from scratch. So I think that one I'm going to be redoing, and then after that, it's kind of smooth sailing. I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing next.
Yeah,
So
I'm pretty sure by then you'll figure out a thing or six to do.
yeah, I probably won't do another chest build because this one's been great, but it's so confining. Um, like I can't. There's not enough space.
I see
I,
what you
I
mean.
want I want to be able to like push the boundaries, um, to be able to make it close. Like so far, I haven't had anything's like run into anything, but that's all been by luck so far.
But I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
So
it's a box.
there's a
It
lot
has
of
its own constraint.
limitations.
Yeah.
So that's been a struggle. So hopefully, um, after that, I'll go back to some regular builds and then I'll renovate this board. I like to kind of make one-off builds and then destroy a board and then put it back together, kind of like Lego piece it all together. So, um, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like
And
fun.
then right now I'm working on an undead warband. Um, so this one is like Scott the Miniature Maniac made a kit bash of this guy.
Okay.
Um, I made a kit bash of this guy with the Maniac miniature, and I really like this guy's vibe. So I'm making a whole war band with that kind of vibe right now, and that'll be the next video. And I'm making a terrain piece with that one
Oh, okay.
um, as well.
If I'm not
So
mistaken, you posted some pictures of your undead on Instagram. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I made some dregs. So yeah, they turned out pretty cool. I was
Oh yeah.
really happy with them. Yeah.
Okay. So just put a link to your Instagram in the chat there as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you say we take a look at the community showcase and see what everyone else has been posting?
That's my favorite part of this whole uh this thing, like seeing what other people make is honestly like super cool. So I always
Okay.
like
So
seeing that.
let me just bring that up.
Okay.
Ah, there we go.
Wow,
Aha.
they built that. I'm just kidding. Okay, cool.
Right.
Oh
Starting
yeah.
with dirty basement
Yeah.
terrain.
Yeah, dirty basement terrain. Yeah, those are the dollar store houses.
Okay.
He did a much better job than I did. Holy cow.
Yeah, he completely pimped them out.
Yeah. That looks really great. I love the textures of the shingles.
I think they're foam, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Hmm. If I'm, I think I saw pictures of this, and he like backed them up so that both sides are kind of like finished or whatever.
I think
Because
so. Yeah.
it's from the Dollar Tree. There's only one half.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah, there
just
it
two of
is.
them backed up onto each other,
Yeah,
and
that's
with
a really
a
good
nice
idea.
fireplace.
Yeah, awesome.
I think this build is on the Dirty Basement Train channel, if I'm not mistaken. So if anyone wants to go watch it, they can find it there.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great build. I love the paint scheme.
Oh yeah, the wood effect is really good.
It is. Yeah,
Okay, next up is Earthman Brick, about 1 meter's length of scratch built fences.
sweet.
Okay, it's chicken wire fence. I like
The
the plants
barbed
at the
wire
bottom, yeah.
looks great.
If I remember correctly, that's just literally just twisted wire coiled around a pencil. I think I had mentioned
Dang.
it last time, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have if I ever get that if that war or Fallout game is
Hmm.
great, I might have to try this out. looks great.
Okay, another one from Earthman Brick, an MDF kit. It's a pimped out taco
Dang.
truck.
Is that scratch built? Holy cow.
It's an MDF kit, but the way that Steve does it usually is that he'll replace some parts, like for example these headlights. I'm
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the tires are replaced with toy parts,
Okay. Yeah,
and
that's legit.
and I'm pretty sure the shutter is also replaced. But in many cases, the way he replaces parts on these kits is sometimes you won't even tell that they're MDF.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really awesome. I like that roll up door for the
Yeah.
taco. That looks really great.
Remember, kids, you can't have an apocalypse without tacos.
Yeah.
Okay, so recycling bins also by Earthman Brick.
Dang, that
Yeah, they look good.
rust is really great.
Okay, and
Hmm.
the thing he does usually with these signs is he gets these catalogs for uh, protective equipment or signage and so on, and just snips them out of the catalog and glues them on.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Dang. Yeah, that's a great use for that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, the grime is awesome.
Yeah. I really like the rust texture. That's really great.
Okay, and recycling bin
Jeez.
mimics.
That's so great. I love that. Did it kill the other one?
Possibly.
Yeah, that's so great. I love that. As a D&D player, I will always appreciate a good mimic.
Yeah,
So,
and just to remind everyone, because in case they have forgotten and need to be traumatized all over again, Earthman Brick also has toilet mimics on his channel, which you should totally watch.
oh, okay.
Okay, so next up is questboard terrain with a questboard. Okay, yeah, you finally have a questboard.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's looking really good.
Yeah.
I think those are those tiny magnets there holding the signs in place.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the printouts. Those as a printer, I appreciate some good printing. So,
Okay, this looks like some kind of gigantic sea slug with horns and stuff. Glitter horns. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I see what they're getting at. The use of the ribbon, if they
Yeah,
I, I don't know what they have planned, but if they like had some uh oh what Mod Podge and like kind of glued it together on that little wavy piece, that would be a really great use
yeah,
for that
I'm pretty sure
ribbon.
that it
Yeah,
is.
that's
It's like one of those sea slugs or something like that.
it's like the curtain.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, the slug curtain. Yeah, that's legit. I like that.
Okay, and yeah, because Bortoni is saying that's part of the transport challenge, which we have running till the end of June. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
this is going to be super interesting.
cool.
Okay, for anyone who
Yeah,
hasn't watched Quest Bortoni's channel before, she basically does a build and tells the story while she's building it. And
oh,
they're
okay.
very good stories.
Sweet. I'll have to check that out. I haven't run across that yet.
Okay. Oh, okay. We have the
Oh, hey, the signs. Cool.
replacement exorcist needed. Okay.
What happened to the last one?
We don't want to know. The little vulture one.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
Welcome to Tiny Teeny's Tavern and Inn.
That's great.
Destroy the beast of the briars. Hey, this is some good stuff, Kim.
Yeah. Some quest. I mean, it's a good quest board. You
Yeah,
could use that in a D&D campaign, really.
yeah. There's some good humor going on it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
For the information, reading the deprehension of the Ember, Thief and Arsonist.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. One more from Dungeon Matron.
Ooh, that's cool. Hey, another dollar
Oh
storehouse.
yeah, built up
Yeah,
with a lighthouse, and this light at the top moves. We don't have the video of that here, but it spins around.
it spins. Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. That they did a really good job with that one. Very unique.
Oh, absolutely.
They broke the silhouette of the dollar storehouse, so it's almost unrecognizable. So I like that a lot.
Okay. Oh yeah, and the quest porter is saying she's going to use Mod Podge or Wood Glue for the ribbon for that
Oh,
sea
okay.
stacking. All right.
Oh, we had the same idea. That's cool.
Oof, okay, so thanks everyone for your submissions. That was beautiful work. So hopefully we'll see some more next time.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So you've also got your work in the transport challenge, so we hope to see you in that stream as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that yeah, for the transportation ones, I have wheels that you guys can I think it's on the top of that Discord
Yeah, I believe you
channel.
linked them. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so you
super
can
useful.
use that STL and all that stuff to help make your stuff or whatever, or just scratch build them, whatever. I just thought I'd give those to you guys so you guys can use them.
Yeah, and I really appreciate all the work you're doing and spreading out the Mordheim gospel because more people should play Mordheim. Everyone should play Mordheim, but also
Yeah.
helping out people with STLs and stuff like that. So that's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I have a lot of videos on how to edit STLs and all the stuff, all the tools I've been using so far are in your browser. So you don't have to have a great computer. I just upgraded from a 12-year-old dinosaur of a computer. So I feel for you guys. So uh, I have several videos where I modify STLs and all those links to those tools that I use for sculpting and like Tinkercad and all that stuff are in those videos. So, um, I mean, we live in an age where making STLs and stuff is really accessible and it's a really great skill to use. So, if you have a 3D printer, you don't have to buy things, just modify them, make them your own. It's really accessible. So, and if in any of my videos, you have a question because I just kind of overlooked something, just ask because I'm more than willing to answer any question. I answer every comment. I sometimes I edit like right before I post, so sometimes I kind of have to rush it because it's 1 a.m. and I have to go to work in the morning.
Oh,
Um, so so sometimes I just brush over things. So if you have questions, ask, and I'll be more than willing to answer. So yeah.
okay. Let me just drop the link to your channel here again.
Oh, okay.
And there you go. So, hello. Thanks again for this. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. And
Hmm.
I'll hope you'll be back again on another stream sometime.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be great.
Okay. Okay, for the rest of you, we'll be back next week with John Lombardi from Tabletop Witchcraft. In the meantime, I hope you have a lovely week. Aaron, thanks
Yeah,
again.
definitely. Have a
And off
great
we go.
week. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.